Sam Amick provides us Kings their latest offer for Kuminga. Here's the quote, and here's the write-up from the article. Per team sources, the talks between the Suns and Warriors have never progressed in any serious manner. So while it's certainly notable that Phoenix is being so aggressive with its contract offer, 4 years and a combined $90 million per ESPN, that part is irrelevant so long as Golden State continues to show zero interest in what the Suns have to offer. As for the Kings, which last spoke with the Warriors earlier this week, team sources say they've offered a 3-year, $63 million deal for Kuminga in a proposal that would send veteran guard Malik Monk and their 2030 first round pick, lottery protected, to the Warriors. If that pick doesn't convey, then the Warriors would get the least favorable of the Kings or San Antonio's first round pick in 2031. Those protections have been the primary sticking point, team sources say, as the Warriors have insisted that the first rounder be unprotected, thus the stalemate. They're also, and again, there's the protections that you have to discuss, and then you have this part of it. After he talks about the protections and the stalemate, he says Warriors would have to move more salary elsewhere to stay under the first apron, likely Moses Moody or Buddy Hield. So not only are they getting this pick, or not only are they giving up Jonathan Kuminga, but they'd probably have to give up Moses Moody or Buddy Hield in order to take on Malik Monk and to get that 2030 first round pick, which is lottery protected. So they're in the position right now where, number one, if they're basically saying, if we're giving up Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody or Buddy Hield, we want that pick unprotected, and the Kings can say to bleep off if they want, because, and I see it coming through on the text line, the Kings would not get Moses Moody or Buddy Hield. They'd have to go somewhere else. The Warriors are just needing to make that money work and send somebody else out. I guess technically, I think the Kings could, but they probably wouldn't get one of those guys.
I mean, like you said, they could.
Yeah.
But the more likely scenario is the Warriors get draft picks back to send one of them to a third team.
Exactly.
Or Sacramento finds a third team for them and sends Buddy and someone else. I don't know who it would be, but maybe it's part of a DeRozan thing. Who knows?
Yeah. So that was the latest update on Kuminga from Sam Amick's point of view. And now, to me, how many times would you say an article like this has come out and then that deal ended up happening, right? It almost feels like once they start putting stuff out like this, highly doubt that their minds are going to be changed. That's what it feels like to me. A lot of times this stuff comes out and it's after the fact. Okay, cool. Now we're going to give it to Sam Amick. Now we're going to give it to Shams, to Anthony Slater, just to give everybody an update. But I don't see the Warriors, hey, here's another update. The Warriors just changed their mind. I think this is where they're currently at, and this is the stalemate. Maybe the Warriors change their mind, but I think it is more in the camp of, do the Kings give a different pick, right, if they want, in order to just get this thing done? Because if Malik Monk is this expendable to you, you tried to move him, you were trying to move him off for Dennis Schroeder, okay? And he's been in every conversation that you've had. Everybody has, but it seems like you want to move him. Let's not forget the Westbrook thing from the beginning of the week. This whole thing comes full circle. So you want to bring Westbrook in. You'd like to move on. And Westbrook, I would hope, possibly pray, that it's a 1-year contract. You want to bring Russell Westbrook in. You'd be getting off a 3-year contract for a position that you're just not seeming to value the same way. And you'd be adding somebody that you'd believe to be a cornerstone moving forward at 22 years old, and you'd have him under contract for the next 3 years, and hopefully he just stays in Sacramento because it has worked out. So from the Kings' perspective, Malik Monk, it just doesn't seem like the plan is for him to be in that locker room, and they're making it pretty clear of that. I mean, this stuff has been happening the whole time with him. So the Warriors know that. So maybe the Warriors, and this is why when this stuff gets out, maybe the Warriors are looking at the Kings saying, well, it's already been reported a ton that Malik Monk doesn't have a lot of value. So you're giving us Malik Monk. And I was talking to somebody and they said Malik Monk's value versus how he actually plays are two different things. I don't doubt it. That's on the Warriors to want to believe that, right? But we know all the reports about Malik Monk's value. So you're telling me we're going to get Malik Monk, who we like, but don't love, and we don't love his 3-year contract. Y'all know we don't want 3 years, but we'll take it. We're getting this 2030 protected pick, which is probably going to move to 2031 and be the worst out of, it'll be whatever the Spurs, right? Because the Spurs are going to be pretty good. So
or they'll make the playoffs and it won't be worth much. Exactly.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Either way, it ain't going to be a great pick for us. And we have to move off of the only second contract we've given out from our draft picks within the last 5 years, or a pretty well-liked guy who's been fairly productive for us in Buddy Hield, one of those guys. I don't know. You can look at it from the Warriors' perspective and say it's not enough, or you could say, you know what, that's plenty to just be done with the headache. Because I think the reason I'm not moving if I'm the Kings is because, again, if the Warriors know everything about Malik Monk's value or his perceived value, the Kings know everything about how Jonathan Kuminga is holding up the two other guys you want to bring in. Now, nobody is doing – Al Horford ain't picking up a basketball now, so I don't know how much they're tripping over we want to get it done, because clearly Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton don't plan on going anywhere else. That's what we talked about earlier in the week. But even still, to just finalize things going into training camp, where the Warriors have had some issues before in training camp. Royal Rumble is what training camp was a couple years back for them. So they would like to have no drama so the Kings can say, we're kind of staying as it is, because we know you're not just losing Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody or Buddy Hield for Malik Monk and a protected first, because you're also going to have the ability, which you don't right now, to add Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton. So it's not completely apples to apples, maybe apples to pears, but you could say we are giving you the ability. You're losing. And again, it has to be said like this because he is holding up those conversations. You're losing Jonathan Kuminga and let's just say Moses Moody. Let's just say that. You're losing Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, right? In return, you're getting a protected first rounder in 2030, Malik Monk, who we can talk about value, but you know you need another scorer, and you get to finalize DeAnthony Melton and Al Horford, right? Which I guess if Kuminga just drags this thing to October 1st, do they just sign them anyway? There does seem to be a holdup because they don't know how much money is available.
Yeah, and by the way, that also includes GP2. Are they going to be able to?
GP2 as well.
They don't know if they're going to have enough money to bring him back. Seth Curry's probably coming on the minimum, but they can't finalize that deal until they know how much money's there. So like they have to, I think they only have like 9 players right now. They have to fill out the rest of their roster before October 1st.
So the Kings can continue to play hardball. They can try to find another pick and maybe lessen the protections. Definitely nothing around 2026. That is untouchable.
Unless it's the Hornets' second.
I'm saying no first rounders.
Yes, I got you.
No first rounders in 20. That is no. That's not possible. But could we see the Kings just say we can give you a little bit more and that's it? That we understand where you're at. That's it. Because Kuminga at $21 million a year, right? That's pretty good. There's only one thing that gives me a bit of cause to pause with Kuminga. And as much as I kind of caped up for him yesterday, I would be worried about this. And I'll tell you what it is when we return. Now, South Sactown Sports.
Hello, I'm Frank Cock with Retirement Security Center.